to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. Monday night means it's the fans forum. Delighted to say we've got a bristling panel ready to talk about what's in the news with Newcastle United today. And God, where do we start, George? Let's start with the sponsors. We know that we're going to get a new one. We've heard that the strip's going to come out in June the 9th, which is obviously the Sam Fender gig at St James's Park. We're going to have a new strip, which will mean that the new sponsor will be announced. But today we hear that Fun 88 aren't saying goodbye completely. They are going to hang around. They are going to be our betting company for the Asian territories, which again is a smart move on Newcastle's behalf. It means there's more coming into the club, more coming into the coffers, which of course helps that those three letters, George, FFP.
FFP, yeah. And I have to say that the company has stuck with it through thick and thin in many ways. There was never any hint that they wanted to jump ship when we're in trouble, etc. So they've been prepared to put money in. If they're still prepared to put money in, it's a good move. It's sensible, and as you say, it's money that isn't AIF money. It's money from outside that, which also goes to help FFP. So no, I'm delighted. As to the new sponsors, well, I could be wrong, but I have a sneaking fancy the people that leaked that were the Premiership. I've got a feeling those names came out of the Premiership, not out of anybody else. But anyway, so we get 25, 30 million instead of 7 or what we're getting. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Different order of money as well. That's the important thing. So, no, good work. And when listen to Neil about who these people are and how big they are and what they do in the Middle East and look at to expand elsewhere, it's great from that point of view for expanding the club's brand, if you like. So it's more than just a local sponsorship thing. It's now becoming a worldwide sponsorship thing, which I think's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's far cry from the days when, it was scrambled around to get anybody at one time. And if it hadn't been for Newcastle Breweries, for example, we would have had no sponsors for years. But no, it's great. Good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we haven't got the exact name of the sponsors. It won't be announced till the 9th of June. There's been rumours, Darren, of certain people coming through. But Fun 88 seems to have gone down well on their Mark Byers. I think he probably, he's got his own opinions. He's been a great sponsor, to be fair, but the logo doesn't look very good on the shirt. But I've seen a lot of people saying that, they've been good sponsors and the fact that they've interacted. The social media is such a big part of football now, Darren, and, social media and the way the Fun 88 have used it, it has been fun, hasn't it? They've interacted with the supporters and made people laugh.
Yeah, they've done a lot of good things. And I think the club has been quite clever, really, to say, they've explained the situation, who they've been taken over by, and says, we really can't have you on front of our shirt. Can we go a different direction and we still have you and get money coming in still? So it's a clever move on the club side. It's all good going forward, Funny if they've been loyal, the sponsored us, we needed the money, but we need to go to the next level, so we need to get more money into the club, and for having Fun 88 on board still, it's just good things,
Yeah, no, of course it is. Ian, your thoughts on that development today?
Yeah, it's great. I think, I think everyone said before, they've been good sponsors. They've been good fun. Social media's always been good. The bits that I've seen of it, I get emails off them and stuff like that, and they're always doing offers. I think it's probably been a good move as well, because I think didn't they get their sponsorship was like a multi-year thing, wasn't it? I might be wrong here, but I thought they had a few years left at least. So we've probably done a bit of a deal with them to say, like, you know, obviously you can come over and be our sort of Southeast Asia or whatever it is, you know, like betting sponsor. So that's probably eased them out off the shirts, which they'd have had to come off next year anyway, wouldn't they? So, but yeah, it's all good for me. I think they associated themselves when nobody else really wanted to as well. We've got to remember that, you know. So, yeah, all good, I think.
Of course they didn't. I mean, things have changed, Donald. You know, you can't have betting, you know, companies on front of shirts anyway. So, that, you know, they would have gone anyway. And of course, as I say, we're creeping closer to the big reveal of who our, you know, who our new sponsor is going to be. We believe that, well, we certainly know it's going to be the biggest sponsorship in the club's history. But yeah, I think there's something nice about retaining the Fun 88 link in whatever way you can. And I know there's a few people saying, well, you know, is it really worthwhile? But of course it is, because any money incoming is beneficial for that financial fair play.
Basically, when you look at it on a business point of view, you always try and keep as many on side as you can. You don't rub people up the wrong way, you know. And they've been smart by, you know, keeping them on as the Asian betting partner over there, but also. Whoever the new sponsor is, that's the first block in improving our revenue streams for FFP purposes. I mean, obviously there'll be more revenue streams still to come, re-sponsorship, but that's, you know, step one in terms of improving revenue streams, and that can only be a good thing, not only for next season but going forward as well.
Yeah, no, of course, true. No betting advertised, full stop, about time. Yeah, Steve, I agree, mate. I do agree. It is right to do that. Vince, good evening, mate. Your views on Fun 88, just retaining a bit of partnership with the club.
Yeah, it's just like me head and says, show me the money. That's what. Like that's it. Like the more money we can bring in, like the Premiership are hammering on. The more stuff we can do to bring anything in, yes, like says, yeah, benefit the betting, like says, yes, stop that and things like that. That's good. Like, yeah, but like says, if they're still on doing each other, that's fine. Like says, anything in that can, like says, give them money so we can spend in, bringing these, like says, with, like says, we'll have a bigger squad than Nottingham Forest. Like says, yeah, no, like to me, it's all fine. Yeah.
And Barry, what do you think?
Yeah, I think like the guys have said, I think they were there when nobody else was really interested. So we've got to give them respect for that. It's the way forward. I think it was Mitch said it the other day, Steve, where it was like we're going to end up with sort of all these different sponsors for different things. You can see there's going to be like Colgate, Newcastle United toothpaste. There's going to be various things of shampoo come out with one. And you think, why the hell not? You know, other teams have been. I don't know, Donald. It's not necessarily for everybody. I'm sure there'll be something for me. You and Steve comes out. Maybe men's hair razor
polish.
Sponsored by Brill Cream. Why the hell not? It's
you get the beard involved too, you know.
Well, the financial fair play is forcing us down this route whether we want to or not, because we've got to find a way around. And the Premier League seems to be going out of their way to try and put more and more obstacles in front of us as to create new revenue. So I think it's going to get a bit wild about some of the stuff we're going to be creating. So no, I think like the guy said there, why upset a company that's been with us for a period of time? Keep them involved. You never know, we might need them again in the future sometime.
Yeah, no, 100%. Barry, we asked you to get about a task a week ago. We announced yesterday on the professionals how many players we've actually been linked with so far. The transfer window not officially open yet. How many, Barry? Just remind our viewers.
So yesterday's total from the starting point that we gave ourselves was up to 116 players. Wow. And I've started from scratch today, Steve, to do this week's total, and we've already been linked with 16 different players today on its own.
Wow.
And you just think it's sort of more and more names as it goes along. It's that age-old scenario that Gundogan and I can't think of the other guy's name that going on freebies to La Liga or looking as though they're going to, but we'll just mention Newcastle while they're going, because Newcastle might do a last-minute bid to try and bring these people in. So again, we're getting linked. I think they've tried to sign Vince 3 times today, but he's not having it. He's wanting more money.
Out of the 132 names that you've seen, then Barry, what's your views? I mean, we've got the list I looked at that you sent us. We're going from the sublime to the ridiculous. But I did ask you to provide us with every single player that you could find. So, I mean, is there any in there that you think, I could see him at Newcastle?
I mean, you go through your likes of Tierney from Arsenal. You go through your Madisons and various players like that we have realistically been linked with. Harvey Barnes was in there. But then it starts.
Tillemans in there.
Tillemans was in there. But then it starts to. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, Steve. What did we decide to call him? I can't remember what you said his name was.
Slobodovic.
He's been mentioned.
Dominic to his pals.
So he's been mentioned about 12 times by different. It's just assumed that we're getting that kid, and then the young lad who it looks as though we're going to sign this young winger from the Danish club is looking as though he's going to be the first one across the line. Is it Mente?
Minter.
Yeah.
It's
18-year-old.
Yeah, he looks a cracking player. I mean, again,
I've watched the YouTube footage of him. He looks alright. Like
he used to be on EastEnders, didn't he? Minty.
He's lost a bit of weight.
I'm surprised we haven't been linked to Wellard the dog, because we seem to have been linked with everybody else.
Or Ricky.
It's just scary because we've gone back in time. This is what happened with the entertainers. When Keegan was signing people, they linked us with all the top stars, and then Keegan would do a deal that would bring in somebody who nobody realised, but they were like the best player in their position, and it's happening again. I do. Sorry, go on, George.
In days gone by, Barry, even as far back as Joe Harvey, the similar things used to happen, not in the quantity.
Right.
The one key then was that if Seymour and Harvey said they wanted a player, you knew they were serious.
Yeah.
Like the Chase Supermac. They couldn't keep their gob shut till they got him. But everybody knew it was going to happen. Yeah. Meanwhile, in the periphery, people were talking about signing this one and that one from somewhere else. But the focus was Supermac. So it's the volumes changed, but Newcastle's always been a bit like that.
Yeah. The thing is, as well, that there's no word coming out officially from the club, is there? That's the huge difference.
That's great for me. I think that's
I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
It's
been
just
linked with Marnie. That's another one, says Sophia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Would you sign him on a free? I mean, he's an unbelievable player, but is he past it at 31? I don't know.
Interesting list. Good luck with it. Good luck with the list, Barry. I genuinely think your hair, what hair you've got left on your chin, you'll be pulling that out by the end of this. But it'll be interesting. I think what we might have to do is we might have to we might work something out with John. Maybe everyone donates £1, and the person who gets nearest, it gets donated to their closest charity. I think maybe we'll pick a final figure for the 1st of September. And you can pick a number. Maybe that's a way to do it. I'll have a chat with John about that, who has been out and about today. I see. I've been busy, but John's been out and about, which is great news. Great to hear. Okay, let's start with this next. Gareth, good evening from our former sponsor, Spider VPN. He says, massive news today, Steve. Saudis bought 4 feeder clubs in Saudi. They bought 4 other feeder clubs in Saudi to feed Newcastle. Financial fair play rules, so they can now buy Newcastle players for big money. Listen, it's interesting, George, this kind of story, because there are ways around things, and you can imagine that Richard Masters and co will be sitting typing away on their computers, trying to
tearing their hair out.
There will be, won't there? What was your view when you heard this?
Be tearing the hair out. Well, you can just stick to the story and not about what's going to happen. When PIF took over, they promised to invest in football. Football. And that's exactly what they're doing. And what they're doing, they're starting with their own area, with their own country. Now, that makes perfect sense to me. The fact that it offers us an opportunity is a bonus as far as I'm concerned. But they did as a group commit themselves to promoting football, and that's to me is fantastic. If it rubs off on us and we do get the ability to sign players and loan them back to us, well, absolutely fantastic. Because if the Big Six or anybody else wants to complain, the Premier League complain, we just say, well, okay, you wrote all the rules that block were doing everything else. So what do you expect me to do? To sit here and do nothing? And that's the other thing about the story is anybody that thought that PIF and the Saudis generally, with all their lawyers and their business people that they've got operating for them, they're just going to sit back and let the Premier League and UEFA's FFP rules run the club into the ground. Well, they need to shake their heads, because these people won't sit around and let that happen. They will try all they can with all legal means. That's the other thing, is all open and above board. Nothing behind closed doors, all open and above board, and that's how they'll operate. And no, I just think it's an interesting one, and a one, as you rightly say, it'll have Richard Masters and his mates typing like mad on the typewriters and the computers and trying to find out ways of, well, is this possible? Can it be done? Will it be done? Sorry, boys, it's going to be done, and it's going to be Newcastle United.
Yeah, you're nodding away there, Ian, in agreement with George.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're going to have a leg to stand on soon, because they're not actually enforcing their own rules anyway. When you look at it, Everton, they've had to hand that over to an outside company or whatever it is that they've done, like sort of adjudicator. Man City, have got 125, whatever it is, charges hanging over them. Nothing seems to be happening with that. So the reality is, by us even, we are actually probably one of the only clubs that are actually sticking to the FFP rules and doing things the way they say it. I think the more they're going to make themselves look really stupid, the more they try and hamstring us. So, like George said, we've got probably the best business minds and the best lawyers working with PIF that money can buy, and we'll just do things like I think, as Mitch always says, come through the front door. They know that we're coming, and there's nothing they can do about it, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's going to be done in the right. It's going to be done in the right way. That's the thing, Darren, isn't it? And Newcastle have got owners who are very shrewd operators, and I think what Mitch and Stu have often said on other shows and that they participate in on this channel is that Saudi don't like to come second, and I think that's a breath of fresh air for us. We know at some point we will be challenging Manchester City for titles, and this is all part of the process, Darren.
Yeah, because everybody knows Saudi, they don't settle for second; they want to be first, and where the rest of the Premiership are desperate to get someone on Newcastle, but Newcastle will do everything legit. They're going through the front door, as Mitch said the other day, and you got and they're doing everything correct and going through the Premier League. So yeah, there's just all legit. That they're just looking desperation to get someone honest, but they haven't. You look at Everton, who broke a lot of rules, and they're not at Tottenham. Another club who's got any money. Haven't paid the bank yet. Back, as Mitch said the other week, still own all their money, and when Newcastle just do everything correct, aren't they? Like get money in and spend it right. We're not going daft. We're doing everything right.
Nobody's talking about the 2.2 billion from Chelsea as well. That's just I've never heard anything about where that money's gone. Like it's a different subject, but
they've got to sell players before they even buy anybody, and they've got to raise 240 million apparently that they need to raise, don't they, for PIF before you even buy, even sign anybody.
Yeah, crazy situation to be in. Yeah, I mean, Donald, Saudi club Sofia is saying, I'm confused. How would it work? Would the feeder clubs buy the players we want and sell them cheaper to us? I mean, I don't think it's as simple as that, Sofia. I think they'll probably buy players. There'll be players go into those clubs. We'll have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
Will they sell them cheaper? Will they be able to loan them? I don't know the ins and outs of it. It's a story that's broken today, which I haven't had time to really examine. But look, if there's a feeder club, then that's what tends to happen. Feeder clubs feed into the main club, and Newcastle might be able to do some decent business with these people. But again, it's the same old situation. There's no way around financial fair play in the Premier League for Newcastle, in the sense that we still I still have to abide by those rules as well as everybody else does. That's the thing, isn't it, Donald? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, as the guys have said, our owners, are the brains, have fingers in some of the big household brands which we all use on here, and all those watching news, and they're doing things by the book, playing by the rules. What you call the Premier League and the other six, they're just nitpicking, see what we can find, negativity, nitpicking, but they can't find any nits, Everything's clean, above board, and they're doing things the right way. I'm just going to add a little bit to this. Basically, all this nitpicking on Newcastle, it's the footballing establishment don't like it. These 6 clubs think of themselves that football is all about them. The other clubs, 14 clubs don't matter. But we have, we've pooped their party, sort of thing, and basically now we're getting talked about. In the past it was Newcastle, never mind, but now it's tone of conversation from other fans has now changed to you're doing all right, aren't you? Even my family down south who support these other clubs, even they've, I'm getting a different vibe off them now. He's there, but long may it continue, and onwards and upwards we go.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, Vince, your internet looks a lot better now, mate. I've just got to point out as well, we've pinned in the chat Vince's link for his sponsorship for the Great North Run. Vince and I are doing the Great North Run this year for the Teenage Cancer Trust. I have hit my £345 target. So I would like it if people do want to make a donation to somebody running the Great North Run, that they give Vince some support. So it's pinned at the top. We both have to hit £345. I've already done that. Vince would love to do that as well. So if you can, please, whatever you can donate, the link is in the top. Please give it a donation today. Vince, the feeder club thing's interesting, isn't it? It's something which other clubs do. Other clubs have done successfully. It's something that's been mentioned before. But to hear Saudi, a PIF going in, big style on that is again, it will have people, screwing their face up, and it'll have certain journalists getting column inches out of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course, they'll all be barking, biting and all that, and especially when we get Messi and Benzema. I mean, come on, we'll just
add them to the list, Barry.
No, that's exactly. It's going to be something else that they just whinge on about, Newcastle doing this, Newcastle doing that, when everybody else has done it before. These aren't something new. It never is something new. It's just because that lowly club at the north, that one city club, it's coming to get with. It's coming now for it. And we are big style. We're just doing. And what I like it says, these owners, what they've done, I think they've looked at City the way they did it, and they've gone, well, no. They've looked at they've looked at everyone and thought, right, we'll just do it how we do it slow. And what they've done is brilliant. And that's it. They can't argue, and then they keep on seeing people saying, the money and the money and the money. It's not been the money. They've done it right. They've brought in the right manager, Eddie Howe. They've and they're building it steadily. They brought the right players in, the right attitudes, and if they just they'll keep going that way. And now getting feeder clubs, they're building all they're just building. I mean, look what Ashley has done to our club, devastated it, every level, and they're having to rebuild. And this is all part of the rebuilding process. If we want to go somewhere, You've got to have things like feeder clubs. You've got to have as much, like, bring as much money in as you can, sponsorship and all that, especially with this bloody FFP. God, I tell you, just my head in that. But yeah, like it's just all part of it, and like in the biting, the crying, the whinging all the time. I just laugh every time. It's ridiculous. I mean, like when they started having to go with Tyndall, they couldn't find no Newton, and then they started having to go with Tyndall. Like says, oh, what's he doing anyhow? But they just find anything, looking for anything to try and upset with. But we are coming. We are coming for them all. I mean, like says they're going on. I heard so on Friday night was Keith talking about the sponsorship deal.
Yeah.
And how, because like the government will probably are trying to say, like, as well, they don't really want to go through, because if it does, then it helps Man City in their court case. So they're saying that could be the only reason that they might reject it, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They should be looking, like it says, and this is the problem, should be looking at individual cases, individual, not letting other teams get involved, but they do. Like says the Big Six, the Premier League, they're all in together. They're all talk about it, saying, "Oh, like we're going to boycott, we're going to leave." So that's going to be they're talking about ESL again and stuff like that. And it's ridiculous. It does, like it all needs sorting out. But we've just got to focus. What I do, I just focus on what we're doing. I don't listen. I don't look at what other clubs are doing. I don't even care about other. I don't tend to watch them. I only watch the FA Cup because I want to see Man U lose on Saturday. I want to see him cry. That's the only reason I watched it. I mean, after Man City scored the first goal, they didn't even get out of second gear. They didn't have to. Like
What's with
Man U.
Man U hats? Is yellow hats on?
Honestly,
yeah,
it's pathetic.
it is. They're absolutely.
The
bucket hats,
yeah. I liked there was a thing there where the Man City fan went to the Man United fans going, "Oh, it's all right, you haven't got too far to go, have you, to get home?" After the match. And that's right.
So
absolutely class, because
Barry, just moving on to you, Barry. Just about the feeder clubs. It's exciting times, Barry. You know, Newcastle linking up with clubs in Saudi, and like I keep saying, you know, we haven't even started yet. We've got to get off to a slow start because of financial fair play. We've got into this position now where, you know, PIF haven't even flexed their muscles yet, Barry.
No. I mean, that's what PIF have done. They've come in, they've looked at what they can do, what they can bring in following the rules, and they're gradually gathering pace. I mean, the thing is, the so-called top six want to think themselves bloody lucky that FFP is there.
Yeah.
Because if our takeover had happened when City's takeover happened, when they didn't have any responsibility about who they signed, what they brought in, they could spend what the hell they wanted. Can you imagine what sort of team we would have had if we'd had the backing we've got now and we didn't have restrictions on how much you could spend? They want to think themselves bloody lucky because we'd have won the league. We would be where City are because they would have invested and they would have gotten us up there. They're desperate to try and stop us from doing things. It's sheer luck that they've got that as their scapegoat for keeping us down. But PIF and the club are so wise about what they're doing that they're finding the best way possible to build us on from the position that we've got, which, to be honest, is we're held back. It's like we've got weights in our shoes holding us back, but they're still doing it. They're still bringing it on. The feeder clubs is an unbelievable idea. I think, like I said, it'll be a case of potentially loaning players in their off season. It'll not be cheating the system by them signing Messi for 600 million and selling us him for 2 million or something like that. It'll be if there's players who want to continue playing during the close season, like Supermac did years ago, they may well come to us on loan for a period of time. And I think good for them. You know, it's about time we had something go our way, Steve. And I think they'll keep digging at them till they get it, till the Premier League have had enough where they just say, right, we're just going to let them get on with this because they're just going to keep pecking away at us. And it's about time. We've had enough stick for long enough now.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Okay, it is halfway through the show, and as always, it is time for the ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors: Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's sauces, which are handmade in Cumbria. Their website is mrvickies.co.uk. If you want to contact the guys, email info@mrvickies.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. Big thanks to New Workwear. They are an agile and dedicated workwear provider launched in 2018. For more information, go to their website, newworkwear.com. Big thanks, as always, to Media Arts for the help with the video side of things. If you want to support the channel, hit the subscribe button, become a subscriber today. Hit the thumb up under the video, which likes the video, and click share to share to your other social media. Click join if you want to become a member of the channel for as little as $1.99, or take a one-off payment for the cult membership. You can get in via this QR code if you've got a smartphone, or look for membership pack on the website, nufcmatters.com. What do you get for your one-off £25 payment? You get a scarf, a pen, and a cup, and a membership card, and entry into the monthly draw. Don't forget, if you want a car sticker, all you need to do is subscribe to the show and then email John at NUFC Matters, and he will post you a free car sticker out. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. And we also support the food bank on this channel. NUFCfansfoodbank.co.uk is the virtual matchday bucket where you can make a virtual donation 365 days of the year. The new Alan Shearer raffle is underway. 150 tickets at £1 a ticket. You could win a limited edition signed Alan Shearer ball from the 260 dinner. Enter now at nufcmatters.com. We've got a few events coming up. August the 5th sees Gavin Peacock at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets are £10, and you can get them now from nufcmatters.com. Our Christmas event takes place on the 7th of December at the Tyneside Irish Centre, and that's an evening with Frank Clark. Tickets are £15 and available from nufcmatters.com. Finally, Waddle, Keegan, Beardsley and friends. The class of 84 is on at the Town Theatre and Opera House on Westgate Road in Newcastle on Thursday, January the 23rd. Tickets are now available from the Town Theatre and Opera House.co.uk or telephone 0844 2491 000. That's the box office telephone number 0844 2491 000. Okay, second half of the show. Welcome to John Sinclair. Good evening, John. Good to see you.
Hello, John.
Good evening. Good evening, Steve.
Good to see you, mate.
Thank you very much indeed.
Second half of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about Champions League squad, George. Interesting article in the Chronicle tonight, which it breaks it down a little bit because now that the excitement about qualifying for the competition has died down, we can see the implications this is going to have on maybe Newcastle's transfer spending spree. Each club participating in the competition must submit 2 lists of players. List A consists of a maximum 25-man squad, and List B has an unlimited number of players who are born on or after January the 1st, 2022, and have trained at Newcastle for 2 consecutive years or 3 with a maximum of 1 loan. Okay? Following this? So List B will mainly consist of players from the academy, such as the Promise and Lewis Miley. Out of the 25, 8 must be classed as homegrown. 4 of those 8 must be club trained, meaning that they've been with Newcastle for 3 years between the ages of 15 and 21. Sean and Matty Longstaff, Elliot Anderson and Paul Dummett are the only first-team players that are eligible for the club-trained section currently. Eddie Howe's side will have no problem with the association players selection, as the majority of the squad is trained with an English side between the 15 and 21 age range. There also needs to be at least 3 goalkeepers in the 25, with 1 of each needing to be homegrown. Nick Pope fills that role. But if Loris Karius or Martin Dubravka leave, then another keeper will be needed. If Dummett doesn't sign a new contract and Matty Longstaff is let go, the Magpies will only have 2 club-trained players. Should a club not be able to fill out the homegrown selection, they must leave a space in their team. So, for example, if Dummett and Matty Longstaff leave and don't get replaced, Eddie Howe will only have a 23-man squad. So, the Chronicle's asking tonight, could Newcastle look to bring in their former academy players? So they're suggesting Tim Krul, potentially Fraser Foster, who could fill one of the club trained positions. This would also address a scenario where Dubravka and or Karius leaves the club. They're basically saying this: the challenge for Newcastle's hierarchy will be bringing in the right players that are eligible, but could also improve the Champions League squad. So interesting article that I found. That was written by Nathan Cliff at the Chronicle. What's your thoughts on that, George? I mean, could you see, first of all, do you think Newcastle would be retaining the likes of Dummett and Longstaff in this window purely because of that? And could you see them make a move for maybe somebody who's come up through the academy?
Yeah, all of that sounds possible to me, and might be necessary because I mean, even this week, Eddie Howe, or was it last week? Eddie Howe was talking about having 2 full teams at his disposal, and you can see why. I mean, I don't think, certainly I wouldn't, if we're stuck with goalkeeper, I wouldn't be averse to seeing either Tim Krul or Fraser Foster coming back to the club to be a stand-in. It would be common sense to me. Somebody would know, both of whom have been quite reliable for us and for other teams. So that would be fine for me. The other one is that Dummett. To be honest, you said if Dummett doesn't sign a new contract, if Dummett doesn't sign a new contract, he needs to go and see the doctor because he'll not get an easier contract than the one he's got now. Really, honestly, Paul Dummett's been a loyal and good servant to football, but it works 2 ways. Newcastle have been very loyal to him as well because a couple of years ago when he was really struggling with injury. In fact, I think if we hadn't changed managers, Paul Dummett might have been gone. I think he would have got well and truly bruised. He'd been out the door. So it's a 2-way street, and I think that's great. But that's good for the dressing room as well. And there's other kids in the academy that we've picked up. We've got from Ireland and other places that have been there long enough to qualify in other ways. So I wouldn't be averse to seeing former academy players coming back in to support the thing. I mean, we're other goalkeepers an ex-academy lad, isn't he? He came back in. So there's lots of choices, lots of ways we could go. And I can understand why Eddie Howe's been very careful, and the club have been very careful about this window. So it may well direct some of our spending to correct some of the things that we need correcting. But I'm just excited about it all. I think we've got enough good enough people of a class that will give a good run in this Champions League this time. And I think nobody's going to hurry to get the Tyneside off the continent. That's for sure. So whoever's in is going to give 100% and take it from there. And I'm looking forward to it. But I think there's the signs are there that we've got enough people around and bring some people in that would fill the various categories. So I think it's good. But I think that the Chronicle article is very helpful actually, because otherwise it's totally confusing to us.
Yeah, weirdly playing Football Manager the last few years a bit clears it up pretty well, says Dan. So there's a good...
very tricky Football Manager put that way, it is. Yeah.
There's a good way of doing it. And Kenny, I was actually out with Clarkey on Friday at a charity do, and I did ask him how much it would cost to get Bobby Clark back. He just raised his eyebrows. We're going to get Clarkey on the show over the summer. He's looking forward to coming back on. Ian, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, you get carried away with all the joy of qualifying for this European competition, but it is quite a confusing one with squads and stuff.
Yeah, it is. I don't think it's something that we need to necessarily worry about. I think Dummett will stay on as George. I hate coming after George, by the way, as I always say every time. But I think
it's too good.
As George said, Dummett would be. If he wanted to go and get first team football, I think he would have done it by now, to be honest. And I think he's for all the talk is that he's a really good influence on the younger players, good in the dressing room. He probably nailed on to get some sort of mentoring, coaching role anyway. And sticking with the club's not going to do him any harm, I don't think, at this stage in his career. Either of the goalkeepers, I think, would be good coming back. And even if we do have to go in with a slightly smaller squad, I don't think that's going to impact us anyway for the for the next season. I think we'll try our best to fill it, but I don't think that it's going to have a massive negative impact on us. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's exciting times.
Yeah. Darren, thoughts? Would just thinking of the personnel, Darren, Matty Longstaff being out injured, the club are nurturing him back to full fitness. Paul Dummett never really got a kick last season. Are these the kind of players you want to hold on to? And what about the two names that I mentioned in that article? Tim Krul, Fraser Foster, would you be happy to see them back?
I'd like to see Tim Krul come back. I've got a soft spot for Tim Krul. But Dummett, if Dummett doesn't want to, Dummett has to. If he doesn't, I'll book him to the doctors. See if something's wrong with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Matty Longstaff, I would let him go because he's young and now Newcastle helping him get him back. But he's still young. I just don't think Newcastle's right for him. I think he's got to go somewhere and play regular football. He's been re-wasted. And now he's English and now he's homegrown. But going forward, I would let him go, Steve Matty Longstaff. But Dummett and Tim Krul, I would have them back. Tim Krul and Dummett, I would give them contracts 100%.
Okay. What's your thoughts, John, on all of those squad suggestions?
For me, I think it's complicated for me, to be honest with you, Steve. Hi to you, by the way, guys. And yeah, for me, Matty Longstaff, will I keep him? Probably not for me. I think he needs to be moved on. Paul Dummett, for me, I think the same. However, if Eddie likes him, gives a 1-year contract, I think I'm going to have to back him. But for me, Tim Krul, for me to come back, is a strange one, really. Do you know what I mean? But it needs doing. But it'd be interesting as well. But Steve is a hard one, man. It's a hard one. It's just a tough one, really. But we got to go with it, man.
Yeah. Okay. Donald, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, if we were to bring either or Tim Krul, Fraser Forster back, it would be kind of good, and it would also give good backup to Nick Pope in the goalkeeping department. Paul Dummett, ideal opportunity to play in the Champions League. Any player worth their salt would be, chomping at the bit to, play on the biggest stage in Europe. So, that it would be, a plus if he got a 1-year contract. And also with this squad option, I think it also focuses the sort of where they could buy and where money needs to be spent in terms of, see what they've got and see where, funds could be allocated in terms of players to enhance the squad. So that's what I would say. But when you read it out first, it took a lot to take in. It was a lot to take in terms of the two squads. It was a lot to get your head around, I will say that. But helpful and at the same time.
Yeah, no, definitely was. Batman's joined us on the bottom row now, Vince, with one of his vast array of masks that he has. It is you, Vince, isn't it?
No, it's Batman.
This is what the sun does to Vince, I'm afraid, but please do sponsor him in a great note where he won't be wearing the Batman mask.
Dunnan looks like one of me villains doing it. A kidnap video because he can barely see him.
Free Donald Baines.
Suits you, mate. It suits you perfectly.
Could be worse, Steve. Could be worse.
Can't see him. Oh, hello.
Yeah, I'm the one that normally hides in the shadows.
Anyway, Vince, back on the football. What's your views on those players?
Well, like says the lads have said a lot of it already. And this is it. We talk about all this here, but I've got complete faith in Eddie Howe and everyone. They know what they're doing. They would have had a planning for when we were getting on. All right, Europa League we finished there, A, B, C, and Champions League. They would already had a plan for this. They'll know all the rules about this. It's I'm not worried at all what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And you're right. They'll be looking at all right. Okay, do we keep doing it on? Could easily do that. Years, bring it, sign him on a year's contract. they could do that easy. Like, says bring on these players. Like, says I mean, like, says you see him bring Tim Krul back. Like, says would he want to come back? Does he not want to play regular football? That's a choice in that. You know what I mean? Like, says that's a thing. Like, says he possibly might do. But I mean, you've got we've still got that young Mark Gillespie, haven't we?
Yeah, for the
And
moment.
they might keep him because then he covers the youth aspect and the keeper aspect as well. You know what I mean? Like, so they'll know what they're doing. They'll have their plans in place. And I mean, them other people that used to, I mean, have been in the academy forever. Peter Messi and Ben Zima, like his local Geordie lads, like he's always been in the academy and all that. But no, like his, like I've got like complete faith. We can talk about it all day to bring in and all that, but they'll know what they're doing. They've got the plans in place, and I like says I'm not worried about it at all.
I mean, the option, Barry, is to bring in the academy players, of course. You know, you've got Lewis Miley breaking in at the back end of the season there. Elliot Anderson's been, elevated and trained with the first team and played with the first team this season already. So we've got other options, haven't we? There may be one or two others on the fringe.
I'm trying to think of the big centre-half's name who got injured. He wasn't far out the team.
Kel Watts.
Kel
Watts looked a cracking player as well.
Kel Watts.
So the reason, I mean,
there's had a fantastic year with Plymouth.
Dylan Stevenson's had some good games for like that level. It's whether or not they would. I mean, I would love it if forced to come back. I felt he was really hard done by the club. I think he would have. I think he's on a par with Dubravka quite easily, and I think Krul. God, it would be great to see both of them come in to have those two as second and third keeper. The name that sprang to my mind, Steve, is would we look at Adam Armstrong? Would he be one?
I don't think. I get you, but he's one of them who just wasn't quite good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wasn't quite good enough at the time, but look, you just don't know. You don't know what's going through Eddie Howe's mind. I think the one thing you look at with Eddie Howe is, Barry, is he can always enhance a player. He certainly gets them fit, doesn't he, Barry? That's the key.
I agree with what you said there. I think the young'uns, if possible. I don't see a problem with an older goalkeeper, but there's plenty of young'uns who deserve a chance. And Howe's got that ability to bring it out of them. He's starting to prove it with the young'uns he's bringing through. And they're investing in young players all the time. I mean, it's not going to help for the up-and-coming season, but we seem to be more than happy now to spend quite a bit of money on somebody who's in that age group and bring them through. So, maybe not with Armstrong, but the two goalies definitely. I'd love to see both of them play for Newcastle. I think they would. And there's no harm offering Krul a coaching role. I think he would snap the hands off for that. To come back to the club, he had a lot of love for the club, so definitely.
James Tavernier is another name that Dan has chucked into the mix. He says he is top of my list by far. Can't find anyone better that could play a role. Which was interesting. Steve Middlemas' suggestion: bring Sammy Amiobi back. If he scores, we're on the drink. Adam Armstrong, says Tom. Adam Armstrong will suit Southampton in the Championship. He's a good striker at that level. He's not good enough.
I've to agree there.
Yeah. And Stephen Kennedy is trying to give us a lesson in how to pronounce Dom's surname. Zoboslai. Zoboslai. Okay, well, that could Stephen Kennedy might have just solved the problem. So I don't have to call him Dom anymore. Zoboslai. Robbie Elliott is doing nothing at the moment as well. Dummett versus Mbappe is a mouth-watering prospect. And Tom Lynch says, I'd extend Matty Longstaff's contract for a year. He needs support coming back from a long-term injury, and he'd also help us regarding the Champions League. He doesn't actually have to be anywhere near playing, which is a good point. And I did hear that was what they were going to do. Eric, good evening. Says Steve last I heard Clark was coaching abroad. Is he still out there? No, he's back now, mate. He's back in Newcastle. He's just enjoying watching Bobby and watching Newcastle. So he is not. I don't think he's keen on going back into management. I think he's hung his boots up and now hung up his tracksuit, which is the way it goes. Mark says Krul was good in his day, but his wrists are made from crisp packets. just want to finish off. Just want to finish off on, you know, now that we're back in Europe, George. It's not something that we really discussed in great deal on the Amigos. Just the behaviour of the Spanish team and the Spanish managers. You know, in the final that we watched last week, and it's interesting. I've not watched any European competition since we last played in it, and I'm going to watch the Champions League final at the weekend as well. But interesting, George, the behaviour, shocking behaviour, it has to be said, of the officials
Outrageous.
during the game and the players. We've got to deal with that next year, haven't we?
Yeah, outrageous is the only way to describe it. In fact, that's a polite way of describing it. It also knocked the shine off somebody I've loved in management for years, and that's the manager. You know,
Mourinho.
Mourinho, you know, he's always had a big thing for us because of his connection with Bobby Robson. Well, sorry, Jose, you've just lost me, because his attack on the referee in the car park to say that didn't influence what happened at the airport, it's absolute rubbish. Any fans from that club watching their manager do that and do what he did on the touchline as well, that's the blue touch paper, isn't it? That's the thing that sets it going. So he needs looked at. I'm aghast actually this morning when I heard that UEFA are actually going to look at the match and see how many mistakes that the referee made. My God, I mean, he's not on trial. It's the Roma fans and the Roma manager that's on trial, not the referee. I actually thought the referee had a good game, you know, in a very difficult, heated atmosphere where he had to dish 14 cards out, and yet still kept control of the game. I mean, seen incidents this year at St James's Park where people have just lost control, and there's hardly been anything to handle. Where I thought Michael Oliver handled that brilliantly. So yeah, we're going to have to watch that. But our fans, touchwood, very rarely let us down wherever we go. I mean, anybody that looks at what happened in Trafalgar Square for the Carabao Cup game and see how the fans didn't just enjoy themselves, cleaned up the mess afterwards, and took it all away. Well, you know, that's the sort of behaviour our fans are capable of, and I'm confident they can do the same when we have visitors from Europe. The big plus for us as well is that none of those teams that have never experienced St James's Park will not be queuing up to come there, because the atmosphere is something else. And despite what others around the country say is that their atmosphere is better, well, forget it, because once War Flags got the crowd going, it's an incredible atmosphere, and it'll frighten some of them. So you know, yeah. We do have to watch it, but UEFA needs to sort out the Jose Mourinho's and that sort of thing out before next year, because otherwise it's going to be mayhem.
Yeah, it will be. What happened to the be kind culture? Short memories, disgraceful by Jose. Dangerous as it incites idiots to take it further. Yeah, it was out of order. Anthony Taylor getting attacked at the airport as well, wasn't it, Ian? And poor Michael Oliver had his work cut out as well as fourth official.
Yeah, it's just pathetic. Yeah. It's just pathetic. You know, Sir Bobby would never have endorsed behaviour like that, and would have just looked at him like, you know, the bloke's bloody nearly 60 years old, and he's acting like a 6-year-old, like a petulant little child. If anything, he wants to look at himself and look at the bloody crap game that it was, because I sat through it and watched most of it anyway, and to me it wasn't exactly a spectacle of football for me. You know, it wasn't an enjoyable game. It was, you know, his team were just kicking lumps out of the other team and vice versa, and I just honestly I wouldn't even waste my breath on him. He's you know, when he first came in, like George says, he was a breath of fresh air. He was a cocky bugger, but he was, you know, he was interesting and different. And a lot of these managers go down the same route. I just feel glad that we've got like a humble manager who doesn't do stuff like that. He doesn't embarrass us, doesn't embarrass himself, doesn't embarrass his family. Because Mourinho's just a big kid, and he, you know, don't like losing, and yeah, I think it was a direct impact of his behaviour what happened at the airport. So yeah, agree with everything that George said.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, Jose for me, Darren, you know, when he first came into the Premiership was like a breath of fresh air. But little things like chucking his winners' medal, you know, when he won his first title with Chelsea into the crowd, and then that big argument he had with a female, you know, club official on the sidelines. It really has damaged his reputation. And then subsequently, I don't think he's done. He done as well. He hasn't done as well. You know, he's always in a hiding and nothing at Spurs because Levy's the problem at Spurs, not for me, not the manager. And watching that Amazon documentary with him on, I just don't think. I think he lost a lot of respect from a lot of people. But what he did the other night, I don't want to say it's incited things because you know you don't want to make allegations like that. But it doesn't help, does it, Darren? It doesn't help, and I'm disappointed. And we've got to learn to cope with that. We've been accused of game management this year. Newcastle have got to deal with that, and that's going to be a new challenge in itself. Because what you get away with in the Premier League, you might not get away with it, you know, on the continent, and vice versa. You know.
Yeah, like totally agree with George said. I've lost all respect for Mourinho after that. He's went down and down my estimation, and after what he did, he's just gone for me. They need to bring. They tried a few years ago. You can't report the referee at all. If you watch rugby, the players are scared of the referee. Yeah. So they need to bring that in the Premiership. If you go to the referee the wrong way, talk to the referee the wrong way, I don't know how they can do it, but they need to do something along the lines, Stephen, because it's happening every other week now when match goes on and players are going up to the referee, shouting at the referee, approaching the referee. Even managers are approaching the referee. They've got a hard enough job as it is, you know what I mean? They've got to officiate the game, and they've got VAR to put up with as well. So they need to do, the FA need to do, or Premier League need to do something, try and get the referee a bit more support by stopping players going running to the manager, to the referee and kicking off with them. It should only be the captain. If you watch Newcastle won not bad actually last year. Trippier had the players more disciplined, didn't he? He let them get away. And I think Eddie Howe's is a respectable guy. I think he'll tell his players he wants none of that rubbish at all. Get the players away, and then I think Trippier will do it as well. So I'm not concerned about Newcastle, but we've got a lot to deal with next year. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, Blue Rhythm Boy. I think chucking in the medal, you know, a runners-up medal, etc. He's got history for doing it. It's sometimes what Jose does, and it's very clever. And we've seen managers in the Premier League do it this season. Is take the emphasis off their team. Sam Allardyce tried it in his brief spell at Leeds by making things about him, coming out with that bizarre statement that he's as good as Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp is a way of taking the attention away from the team and the pressure away from the team and putting it all on him. So the media and everybody and fans are all talking about him saying that. And Blue Rhythm Boy and Benny both talking of the medal, chucking at the medal I can empathise with. I gave away my runners-up medal after losing on penalties in the County Cup final. I don't want to look at the thing again, so gave it to one of the Rezzies. I mean, I can understand it. Yeah, I get it. But I just think sometimes a lot of it is done, you know, for another reason with him. He does have an ego and he likes it to be massaged. John, how do you think Newcastle's going to cope with European football and all of the stuff that comes with it on and off the pitch?
Right. First of all, on Newcastle, how we do, it depends which players are going to buy. We do need to get back 5-6 players in the summer. Most from all positions, in my opinion. Yeah. We definitely need a centre back. CDM, I've said this before, a CDM is an absolute must to protect the back four. And we do with the cover, need a left back, we need a left side midfielder cover as well. But if we can get improve on the players they've got, Steve, then I think it could be absolutely fine. We've got to give it a go. The home ties will be very important for me, if you know what I mean. It's going to be important. But on to Jose, for me, I mean, he has got an ego. You can't doubt his management talent. He's won everything, right? And for me, what he did on Thursday against in is it Romania or is Romania beat Hungary when it was absolutely disgraceful. I mean, the referee's got a tough job on the sides. He had a great game referee, by the way, but he wasn't he wasn't. I mean, he just didn't face. Let's be real, right? Jose, right? What he did is not great for world football. Do you know what I mean? It's not, and I hope now it gets punished heavily. Yeah, it gets punished, Steve, because that's no good for football whatsoever. We don't want to see that at all. Football is supposed to be the best sports in the world, and Jose do that. I feel that's shocking. It really is. And one thing I'm going to say quickly, Bobby Robson would be extremely disappointed on Jose.
Yeah. Once upon a time, I wanted to see Jose at Newcastle. I wouldn't thank you for him now, I've got to be honest. And Sam, little FB, who we met at the do last weekend in the Irish club, says the only punishment to work will be barred from the competition or points deduction of league-related monetary punishments are a waste of time. And people were suggesting as well, fans getting a ban, Donald. Maybe having a ban with the supporters, which I've got to be honest, I think that's a bit unfair. The fans, if fans misbehave, punish the fans. If the players and the management misbehave, then they need to be punished in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly. I mean, one thing professional players, managers should remember is that they are role models for those lower down the football for youngsters. Yeah, if they behave like that, youngsters are going to think, "Oh, he does it. Must be all right to do it." No. And another thing, when the game after 90 minutes, that's it. The game is done. Leave the ref alone. He's with his family going through the airport. What was all that about? You lot who behaved like that at the airport with Anthony Taylor, hang your heads in shame. You are family people as well.
Yeah.
He was a family man with his family about to board a plane, and you behave like that. Sorry. Big minus. And as for Jose, as all you other guys have said, when he came, he was different, a bit like Cloughie, but how he's starting to behave, his stock has really plummeted, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just want to make a comment to Morris Turner in the chat. We don't entertain comments like that on this podcast, Morris. So I'm afraid I'm going to put you into a timeout on here. Any more of that, and I will just have to bar you from the channel, because bullying is not accepted on NUFC Matters chat. Thank you very much for listening to what I said. Okay. Vince, from my perspective, I personally think it'll be a little bit easier for Newcastle to go into this European competition, because we are like an unknown quantity, Vince, where, I think as well, I think the bonus we've got is the support at home at St. James's Park. And I think War Flags will help massively with that. The excitement levels will be sky high for the Champions League games, and the noise and the volume. I think it might be slightly easier. And I think the way that we may not get the decisions abroad, we're certainly going to get them at St. James's Park, Vince,
Well, yeah, it is, Steve. I think, I hate all of this just constantly. Oh, Newcastle's going to be in the Champions League. They're going to struggle. Chelsea's going to come back. Liverpool's going to come back. We're going to improve as well. Eddie Howe, what I seen the other day, Eddie Howe giving Richie another 1-year contract.
Yeah.
And that's about, but what that is about, it's not keeping a player. It's keeping, he wants to keep the same mentality there. He said, he's great in the dressing room's great and that, and Champions League nights and all that, excited. The players will be excited. The crowd will be excited. Yeah, we're definitely going to be up for it. But also, they're saying, the way we play, the dirty tactics and that. Where do you think Trippier learned everything from? He learned it from Simeone and Atletico Madrid. Yeah. They play like that as well. That's where he learned it all from. So, so I've got no worries. I've got no worries and things like that. But it's exciting times, Stephen. Yeah, I think they're gonna see, the players, you see Joe Linton and stuff like that, they're powerful. These are athletes, these lads now. They're gonna have another summer under Howe. They're gonna get stronger. Gordon, he wants to catch up, he wants to get there as well, and he was quite honest with it as well. This team is gonna, I think we're gonna be an unknown quantity to a lot of them, and especially for teams and that who haven't played at St. James's Park before, it's going to be a shock for them. And in a very good way for us. I think, Steve, I cannot wait. And on Jose Mourinho, be careful. Batman is coming for you.
The reason we have Vince on the channel is so that people know it's dangerous to sit in the sun for any prolonged amount of time without sun cream on. Sorry.
Just to let you know, this is what I will be doing the Great North running.
Oh, well,
with the
that's
rest
a
of
bit
the
better. At
customers,
least I don't have to
yeah.
keep taking that on and off and helping you get water all over you.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right, Barry. Last but by no means least, Champions League. I mean, it's I'm excited. I wish it was starting next week. I've got to be perfectly honest, but we'll have to be patient. We've got a couple of months to wait. But yeah, what's your views about how Newcastle will deal with the game management side of things in the Champions League?
I think with Eddie Howe, the attitude that he's got, he's an exemplary manager who doesn't see anything stupid. He keeps the players on track. I think we'll be absolutely fine from that point of view. Unfortunately, Mourinho is just following suit with what an awful lot of managers are doing in the Premier League and everywhere else. You watch your Klopps, you watch Conte, you watch the numpty at Man United. There's a list as long as your arm of managers who think it's acceptable to behave like little spoiled children. And you just think thankfully with us, Howe is one of the few who doesn't. My only concern from Europe is I would like to see us get somebody with European experience to boost us up a little bit. I mean, obviously we've got Trippier, we've got Botman who's played in Europe, but I can't think off the top of my head, Isaac. There's not many others who've got European experience, but I think that'll come. I totally agree. I think St. James's Park will be a hell of a shock for any teams coming to visit because it's been so long since we've had those oppositions there, but I don't have any worries. I think Eddie Howe will see same old. We'll look at one game at a time and we'll move on to the next one. And I think he'll lead us the right way. I think, we're just going to enjoy it. Like you guys have said, it's been a long time coming. So, Jose, what can you say? The guy's unbelievably talented managerial-wise, but his attitude needs a good shake because you can't behave like that. Simple as.
Great.
You're on mute, Steve.
Oh, mute.
2 seconds, yeah, 2 seconds. Yeah, I'm back now. I'm just saying it's so sad that somebody who's got such a great reputation has tarnished his reputation by the way that he's behaved. And one day maybe he'll wake up and regret that. But it's been a great show. Some absolutely fantastic comments in the chat. Some great comments from you guys, and we'll leave with this. It means that Vince has got to go. The bat signal's coming.
Beware.
I'm back 11 o'clock in the morning with Ross Gregory. But for me, George, Ian, Darren, John, Donald, Vince, and Barry, thanks for tuning in. Take care. See you all.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Cheers,
Quick thank you.
We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.